Dominique Lakes here, aka DIY Barbie, today because the fashion bug has got me and I want to try my hand at making some clothes instead of buying some clothes. Now, I do have the basics of sewing, so we're gonna try something new today. Okay, now I got some fabric from Walmart. I don't know if y'all have ever been down the sewing aisle at the Wally World, but they have all types of stuff over there, and they have pre-cut fabric. Okay, that's real important. So let me show you what I got. Okay, so I have two fabric options that I am going to choose from. I don't know, we're probably gonna eeny meeny miny mo this thing. So I have 2 yards of fabric in this beautiful neon yellow kind of color. Love it. This was $4. It say it right on there, $4. 2 yards for $4. And then I have this beautiful tangerine pink color. This was 3 yards for $8. So obviously this is more fabric than this one, but I'm leaning more towards this one. So we're gonna get what we need for both today, just in case I change my mind. So I made a list of all of the things that we need to get. I already have a sewing machine. I already have bobbins to make my thread for the actual fabric that I'm using, but there are a few items that I need. I need a sewing mat. I need to get tailoring chalk. I need to get thread, of course, and I need to get some markers. So we are going to head down to the store. We're going to try Joann's fabric to see if they got what we need. They should, but we also need to make sure that it's in our budget because it could get expensive being a fashionista. So, you know, we got to work in the guidelines of what we have. So let's go. All right, we have made it to Miss Joann. Say hey, girl. Hey. Let's see what we can find. Right in the front, girl. Right in the front. They got us with the thing. Okay. So we have the different kinds. How big is this one? This one is not as big as I need. So here's my problem. They got this big tail one for $70. And it's huge too. You know? But I don't know if I need all that for $70. So this was my apprehension with coming to the fabric store. They gonna have everything you need, but it's gonna be a whole lot of money. So I'm gonna think about it a little bit. I might still end up getting it, but dang. We have tailoring chalk, right, for $11. We got another version for $10, you know. Let's keep looking, see what we got. We got the pencils right there. We got more types of pencils. We got heat erase pens. I don't know what I'm gonna get. So we're gonna go and look at the thread options and then come back, because spending all this money on chalk, I'm not there yet. Let's go find the thread. Boom, we got all-purpose thread, which is exactly what we need, and we need to match the fabric. So this is the fabric. Let's see what we can find. We got one match. This is the color flamingo. That's about as close as we're gonna get. Now we got another one we gotta match. Okay, we getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Let's see down here. We're getting somewhere. We're getting close. This might be the best bet. We do need bias tape. Boom, we got our bias tape. Okay, so these boards are more along the lines what I was looking for, right? My only thing is they're double the price here, than they are at Walmart. So shouldn't I just go to Walmart? We're going to Walmart. So I end up putting everything back because it don't matter how much money I have. I'm always looking at the deals, honey. And if I can get the same product, same quality somewhere else for half the price, that's what we're going to do, right? So the board, the cutting board or the marking board or whatever kind of board it's called was $80, $70 in Joann's. I know I have seen this board at Walmart for $30, at Michael's for $50, paying $80, $70, $80 for the same board. Wild to me. Wild to me. Here's also the thing. I knew going into a specialty store like a fabric store where this is the product that they sell, the markup was going to be high. Did I expect it to be double the price? No. So with that being said, we're gonna head right on over to Wally World and see what she talking about for the same 4 items that I was gonna get in here. In here for 4 items, it would have cost me $200. We finna go to Wally World and spend half that, if not less. So let's go right on over, because what? It's one project. I'm not. I already got the fabric. That's supposed to be the most expensive part. Hello. Let's move on. We have made it to the Wally World. All right, we have made it to the arts and the crafts section. Y'all about to see what I was talking about. Y'all, this is that same board. Look at the price. $32 for the exact same board. Exact same board, exact same size, half the price. This is what I be talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You can get the same quality, half the dang on price. Now let's find us some thread. You know, Walmart gonna always have my back, and somebody baby ain't quite feeling it. Let's decide which one we want. It's a dual purpose twin marking pen. One side says water soluble. Well, they both say water soluble. One says disappearing ink. The other side says mark be gone. So we're going to try this one. So y'all, this is the section that I got my fabric from. It's already pre-cut fabric. You see they have different types of fabric. They have the yards on there. And then if you come down here, it has how many yards for the price. So if you're looking to start a project, or you just want to try something out and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, come to Walmart. Come to Walmart. They got you covered. Also, if you're looking for a start kit, get one of these. Okay, it has 2 kinds of fabric scissors. It got some marking tint, pencils, some measuring tape. This will be your best bet, and it's only $10. If you're just starting out, get you one of those. You're gonna try this bias tape, and now we get the thread. So we got this thread right here. I think would be a good option. Let's try this one. I think this one might be a little too green. Yeah, it's a little too green, but it might work. And just like that, baby, we are done. We got everything that we need right here in the Walmart, and I promise you, I didn't even spend half of what I would have spent at the fabric store. Ain't that crazy? Let's go check out. Exactly what I said. It would have cost me about $200 at the specialty store. Not even $60 here at Walmart. All right, friend, we have made it back home. Now, I just want to just say, I try to do like my elders say and go to the store at the times where you don't think anybody else is going to be there, so you can be in and out. I was at Wally World, and everybody in that great grandma was there. It don't matter what time you go to the Walmart, it's always packed and stacked. And luckily, I was in and out, in and out, in and out. But golly, it was so many people. Like, girl, aren't y'all all supposed to be like at work picking up kids, cooking lunch or something? Why is everybody here? Anyway, let's get on with the program. First things first that we are going to do is we are going to take our measurements, okay? So I have my measuring tape here. Let's go ahead and start. For our measurements, we're going to be using this page from a book called The Complete Book of Sewing. We're going to measure our bust first. Keep the tape measure straight and flat around the widest part of your bust. Same thing for your waist. You don't want to pull too tight, but you want to measure around your natural waistline. That's important here. And then we're going to move on to the hips. We're going to measure around the fullest part of your hips. That includes that juicy booty you got, girl. We're going to measure that too. For the crotch depth, you need to measure in a seated position from your waistline to the edge of your seat. Editing Barbie from the future here. Quick note, I am following another person's tutorial on how to make this outfit. Here is their tutorial. Now, this tutorial does not do a good job of explaining things, so I loosely followed it. Please make sure you take all of your measurements. Please make sure that you double check and triple check before you do any major cutting. You will see why later, but I just wanted to come in and let y'all know ahead of time. Now let's get back on to your previously scheduled program, girl. So we are going to start off with measuring our fabrics. This yellow one is beautiful in color, but it is not long enough to be a floor-length jumpsuit like I want. So we are going to go with the tangerine fabric. I have started by folding the fabric horizontally in half with the right sides inside, and I am now measuring out the work casing that I'm going to use to hold my straps. It needs to be 2 inches in length all the way across the fabric, and we're going to start our measurements at 5 inches down because the fabric will fold in half and we need 1 inch of seam allowance. And what you see me doing here is clamping the fabric together so that it does not move, and I am using straight pins to hold my tape measure in place. So I am measuring here my different points. So you will need, as I stated here, a chest line, waistline, hip length, and crotch depth. So I am measuring out my chest length here. The second measurement is going to be my hip length, and I am connecting those 2 points together, and I'm going down to measure my hem length and how long I need this to be. And once I have that completely measured out, I'm also using this little small tracing mat that I got from Walmart as well. But I got this a while ago, so it wasn't included in the haul. I'm using that to connect all of my points together so I can start seeing what I have working here. I'm also adding in seam allowance to the hem because I want to fold the hem. And right here, I am measuring the crotch depth. Now, this is where I made a big mistake. I did not measure properly. I was going off of the video example. Don't be like me. Make sure you have your measurements together. Right now, I am measuring the armhole, and I'm following the tutorial. Please go watch the tutorial if you want more detailed information. And I am doing a big no-no. I'm cutting out before making sure I measure. Make sure you measure twice, 3 times if need be before you put the scissors in there. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Now we are going to unfold my fabric so that we can see what we're working with and where you'll actually be able to tell where I made a mistake that we will fix to the best of our ability later. So if you look, you can see the top of the fabric, the armhole, and the crotch seam. I did not give myself enough space. This is why it's important to take your measurements and not exactly follow someone else's, but we will fix it. The next step that we're going to do is add notches to our work casing at the top where we will be folding it over. And you're also going to add notches where you want your pockets to go. I did this measurement based off of the wrong crotch measurement, so it's going to be not in a place that I like, but you know, you live and you learn. We can always do this project again later and actually do it in the way that we like, but so far so good. Now you want to take your scrap fabric here, make sure that you fold it in 4 pieces so you can have 2 for each hand, and you are going to trace the shape of your hand, and you need to make sure that you give yourself enough space for your palm to fit in. So that should be about 7 to 10 inches, and you're going to slant your cut so that it slopes up towards the pinky and down towards your thumb. I hope that makes sense. Again, you can always watch the ladies tutorial that I got this from for more clarity. And we are going to add the pockets to those hip notches that we made earlier. I am sewing one side of the pocket to the top and the other side to the bottom, and then I'm going to join them together. Now we are going to thread our sewing machine. You're going to add thread to your bobbin. Each sewing machine has a different process to doing this, so please make sure that you follow the instructions for your sewing machine. They also have the instructions printed on most sewing machines, so it should be pretty easy to follow. Now I am adding that new thread to my sewing machine, making sure I have the top and bottom threads, and we are going to sew. Now, because this is a stretch fabric, I am using a zigzag stitch. If you are new to sewing, a zigzag stitch gives you more stretch, and it also helps with those stretch fabrics to make sure that you don't pop any threads when you're putting them on. And you see me turning the fabric around the pockets because you need to go in first to lock the fabric together, and go around your pocket, go in a little bit here, and then go back out to continue sewing down your garment. I hope that makes sense to you. If it does not, let me know in the comments and we'll do another tutorial where I make the instructions clearer. We're gonna do the same thing all around the entire piece that we're working with. Right now I am doing that crotch seam that you saw me cut earlier. Pretty straightforward here. And we are working on the other pocket, and now we are going to do bias tape. Bias tape can be tricky if you haven't worked with it before, but remember to take your time. I know it looks like I'm going fast here, but that's the power of editing. But you want to sew your bias tape on one end, fold it over, sew that same seam down so that it does not move, and then you're going to fold your bias tape inside. So I wanted a very tight bias. I didn't want to show the bias tape, so I am folding it to where you can't see it, and I'm just gonna top stitch that. Now we are sewing our straps for our garment. Can you believe we almost done, y'all? So I'm sewing the straps here. I'm sewing the straps closed and then turning them inside of each other. I also made a belt. You will see that in a second, and you sew that the same way that you sew straps. Do yourself a favor, buy a loop turner. Do not try to do this with a safety pin. It takes way too long, and a loop turner is much quicker. Get you one of those. It does the exact same thing that you see me doing here. All right, friends, we are currently on day 2 of this project. Let's see where we are so far. So off camera, I added straps and I made a belt. We got some alterations to make, okay? So I have it on inside out. As you can see in the crotch area, following somebody else's design doesn't always work. So I called my grandmother, who is a seamstress, who taught me how to do the basics, and we got to open up the crotch area to give us some more room. And I also want to make these straps longer. Right now they're not long enough and it's pulling even more, so I also have to hem the bottom of these pants. I am actually going to use heat adhesive seam tape because I don't want to sew it. I want to use the tape to hem it So, and I'm also going to mark which section I want to be the front and the back, because there is no tag, so you don't always know. I think I'm just gonna like dart a little X for the back or something to mark it, so when I put it on, I know. So let's get into these alterations, shall we? Let's do it. According to my grandma, I need to open up this crotch seam and give myself some more fabric, which is great because we have plenty of fabric left. So first I need to measure how much room I want to give myself. I'm going to estimate about 6 to 7 inches, but let's see. Okay, I'm going to give myself 10 inches in length, and we're going to see how much width I want to give myself. Let's see. We'll do 10 by 9, okay? So 10 inches in length, 9 inches in width, and it's going to come out to somewhat of a diamond shape. So let's go ahead and do that. Like I said, I made these straps about 30 inches long, 2 inches in width. I think I need about 50 inches in length because it's not quite doing how I want it to do. So let's get right on. All right, so I am measuring out how much space I need for this addition to the crotch. So you see I'm marking out my 10 inches and my 9 inches, and I'm also going to mark out the seam allowance that I will need. So I'm giving myself about 1 inch of seam allowance just to be on the safe side. This is a thinner section than what I usually work with because I'm only doing 1 layer instead of 2. So we have to be very careful. This also has holes in it, so the needle can sometimes skip through and not thread the thread through your fabric if you only work through 1 layer, or if you have a material that has a lot of holes. A lot of people would hand stitch this, but your girl is not doing that. So we're going to use this good old sewing machine. Now that I have that done, we are going to re-measure our straps. So I'm giving myself the allotment that I need, making sure I have enough space, and you'll see that I'm also going to fold this fabric over so that I can have a thick strap instead of a thin one. And you'll see here I'm going to give myself the 2 inches of width, and we're going to go ahead and cut that out, and then we'll be back. I am using my board here, much bigger than the little one that I was using. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the length out from the scrap fabric. I did use my clips to hold that in place so I don't have to remeasure and remeasure and remeasure. And once it's all cut out, I am going to open the fabric up to make sure that I have even measurements. So once it's open, I'm going to find the midpoint between the length and the width that I have here, and I'm going to just use that middle point on the tracing mat and cut right up the fabric. This was the easiest part, y'all. I know it was the easiest part because all I gotta do is cut a straight line, and we're gonna take her over to the sewing machine once we are done and all folded over. Some people like to iron their pieces. I am a pin girl. I will use pins until the end of time. So I pinned all the way down my fabric, and we are going to sew her all the way down. I'm still using that same zigzag stitch here so that they don't pop. I am still using the safety pin method to turn my straps inside out. Once again, please get you a loop turner. I think they're like $2 at Walmart. I should have gotten one while I was there, but at this point I was not going back. We was gonna finish this outfit today so that we could put it on because I am excited. Now we are sewing in the dart, or the marking, I'll call it, of where we want the front and the back to be. So I just made a little T. I did a straight stitch down the middle of the fabric and I turned it, and I'm gonna do another straight stitch, as you can see, so that I can know which side is the front and which side is the back. Now I am seam ripping that crotch seam and placing in the new crotch piece, making sure I have the length and the width accurate. It was fairly easy to connect the 2 points because once you have the fabric open, all you have to do is match up the seams. Make sure that you don't go over your opening, because sometimes you can over sew and not know it, so be very careful. So I am going to pin, making sure I align all points with the correct openings. So the middle of the crotch, the side of the leg, the back of the crotch, and the other side of the leg. So it should be all pinned like this, and it should fit pretty snug because you just opened up that area. We sewed it up, and now we are going to thread our straps through the work casing that we made. Super simple. Going to go straight across. And now we're going to tie a knot at the end of our fabric so that the string does not get lost inside of the work casing. Because there are 2 sides to the front and the back, you should have a total of 4 knots once you're done. All right, so I have made all of the adjustments that were needed as far as the crotch section. So now we have a lot more room in the crotch area. This is what the front looks like, and this is what the back looks like. Once I sew that up, you're not going to be able to see it. And I made a lot of adjustments in the top area, so if I don't want it up this high, I can release it. I can make it a lot more relaxed, which I love. I absolutely love. Absolutely 10 out of 10. Love it. I also made a belt to go with it. So if I wanted a little pizzazz, boom, we got a little here. One of these. So let me finish sewing everything, and then we'll be back with the final product. Our final step is to sew and press. So we are going to sew down this crotch seam using a zigzag stitch once again, and we are going to press everything as flat as we can get it so that we can have clean finishes. I am pressing out my belt instead of leaving it as puffy as it was because I just want a more clean look. And now we are going to cut all of our threads. Do not forget to cut all of your loose threads because they will get in the way later. So make sure you cut them. And we are going to use something called hem tape to hem up our fabric. I did not want to sew the hem at this point because I just wanted it to be a clean finish. So I am taking about an inch and a half of that hem. I am going to press it out with my iron first just so that it's even. And hem tape is heat activated. So basically you place it inside of the casing that you want to work with. And then you take an iron and you iron over the hem tape so that it can adhere to both sides of your fabric, right? And it is a white tape, as you will see here in a second, after I make sure that both the front and back folds are nice and pretty pressed. This is the hem tape that I was talking about. So you want to measure it to the length, and you want to work in small sections because this is heat activated. You don't want to work in large sections and run the risk of not adhering every section of your hem. So I'm tucking everything in place, but I am going to take my iron in small sections to make sure that one, the hem tape is snug in that nook that we created, but also that I don't get the hem tape on my iron because it is a headache to get off, y'all. Small sections, and I'm working my way down, making sure that it is nice and fused together. When it comes to the corners where the seams are, I take my time there as well and really work it in so that it does not come loose. And now we are at the second seam, where we are also going to take our time with floating that iron over. And I'm going to repeat this to both legs, both sides, and then we all done, girl. We all done. All right, the jumpsuit is all done. I think for my first project back in years with sewing, I did pretty good. We fixed the crotch area, we hemmed the bottom. This is what it looks like without a belt. And this is what it looks like with the belt. You see, I love the pockets. I put pockets on there. Next time I'll probably bring the pockets in a little more, but here we are. What do you think?